So hello and welcome. I'm Adam Polansky with Big Design Events. The Big Design Conference is in its fourth year, and it's been pretty successful by all accounts. It's become a regular stop for designers and UX professionals from around the world. So if you haven't made your arrangements yet, stick around to the end of the segment and we'll give you some more details. So until this year, the focus at Big Design has revolved around the dynamics of device-driven user experience, and that runs from development to visual design, theory, practical application. But this year we're adding a new track that's devoted entirely to film and video. And the speakers on the list, you may not be very familiar with them as you would be with somebody like Jared Spool or Steven Anderson, but their work is going to be immediately recognizable and in some cases even iconic. So it all came about through the efforts and general good standing of Schuh. He's the director of Tunes and Design, which is an animation and motion graphics specialty firm here in Dallas. So I'd like to introduce Jay to you and have him tell you a little bit about what we're doing this year.
All right. Hey, Jay. Welcome.
Hey, Adam. Thanks for having me.
So when we talked before, you told me about an aha moment that you had at last year's Big Design Summit. So what happened there?
Well, actually, my good friend AJ Wood was scheduled to speak, but he's so popular that he got double booked and couldn't speak at the Big D conference. So he asked me as a favor to come in and speak in one of the tracks, in the career tracks. And I said absolutely. I had before I'd heard of the Big D conference, but I never really saw a one-on-one relationship as why I should attend. It seemed like it was a lot of UX and UI type stuff. It's not a world I live in all the time, and I just didn't see a direct connection. To my surprise, when I got there, it was immediately recognizable. You're about telling stories. You're about having an idea and then an objective and making that come to life. And that's exactly what we do in the film community. It starts off with an idea. People take down notes. They develop storyboards. They figure out who they need to bring to the table, and then they start the production process. My understanding in UI and UX is you do the same thing. You get an idea, you get a wireframe, you get constructs and comps, and then you move towards your objective, and at the end of it, after all the time and money, you hope it's a success.
Okay. So how did what you saw there evolve into the idea to create this year's track, and how'd you go about that?
I was so blown away by the Big D conference that after the conference I cornered Brian Sullivan, who's one of the directors for the conference, and I said, there's a lot of things we have in common. I would love to see if we could get a film multimedia track up and going. And he said, wow, that's interesting, let's talk more. And here we are a year later. I've reached out to some of my friends in the community, and we've got our first track for the Big D conference.
So tell us a little bit about the different presenters and where they're coming from and how we know about them.
We have some amazing presenters. A lot of them are personal friends of mine. This is the first year we've done the track. A lot of them are local Dallas talent, which is fantastic considering that it's the Big D conference. Leeanne Locken is an actor and a talent. She's been on some amazing shows here in town, and also she's well known for modeling and other things. Very attractive gal, if I do say so myself, and a really smart, savvy business person as well. So I think you're really going to enjoy her. Keith Alcorn, also a great friend of mine. You'll know him as one of the developers of Jimmy Neutron and the film Ant Bully. So amazing guy who's started off doing animation, shooting at an old school animation stand, moving one frame at a time, and now was a leading cutting edge in the 3D animation for Jimmy Neutron. Next, we have Morgan Hanson, who is one of the leading interactive producers here in Dallas, who works at the Maroc Group, does a McDonald's account. If there's one guy in town who can get it done, it's Morgan. Will Nicholson is a personal friend of mine who actually started off in the business with almost 20 years ago, and went to Hollywood, worked on Sin City, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and a bunch of feature film amazing movies that you've probably seen. And then we've got Briley, who's currently president of a bunch of short guys, which is a local animation, game, and visual effects organization, a nonprofit that supports what we're doing here in Dallas. And he's going to be showing some really, really cool sculpture stuff that you can do in a software package called ZBrush. It's absolutely amazing. You'll be thrilled and excited to see what he brings to the table on that. And let's see. My good friend Dan Kuenster. Dan Kuenster is a former Disney animator who works right here in town at a company called iStation that's developing educational content for kids in schools to learn how to read and science and all that cool stuff. He worked on Secret of Nim, Fern Gully, and has just had a vast experience in the 2D animated world, and now bringing that to the interactive world. So I thought that'd be a great fit for the Big D conference.
So I'd like to thank Jay for joining us, certainly for his time and for the amazing work that he did pulling this track together. It's really going to change the face of what the conference looks like going forward. The Big Design Conference runs from May 31st to June 2nd. 1 day of workshops and 2 days and 4 tracks of great stories, and not to mention all the wonderful stuff that happens in the fringes when you get this group of people together. You can learn more at bigdesignevents.com. That's bigdesignevents, one word, .com, and we hope to see you there. Thank you.